Hi, this is Yanis from Never Stop Trucking. How's everyone doing? Today is Wednesday, 11 a.m. and few minutes. Let me see. Salam B21A. Hello, Ulrich. Thank you for joining in. I've been meaning to do a live dispatching session, and Chris volunteered to go with me to do it together, but we keep missing each other. So I'm gonna do uh, same as usual, questions and answers, and then talk about some trucking topics. Hello, Awais Ali Khan, Jarak Kari. Good morning. Thanks for joining in. And I had some stuff ready to talk about here, but I had to restart my computer for some reason. It didn't want to connect my camera, so I just restarted it, and we are ready to go. If you have any questions, as usual, you can always ask. Let me see who's calling me. Dispatch. Good. How are you? Very busy. What's up? No, that's covered. Thanks. You too. Bye. This is a second call from Arrive this morning that they're asking me if our truck in Jacksonville, Florida, is still available, but it's not, and I don't know how they see that. It should have been taken off, but yeah. Let's see. How are the rates this week? This week, last week, I'm not gonna say I saw some improvement, but I'm gonna say that I saw some of our trucks doing better, and I don't think that has to do anything with the rates, but just in general, they had more loads. This week, I was expecting to see better rates because of the DOT Blitz week, but I'm gonna go log in to our TMS program that we built, that Emro actually built, and I've been also meaning to talk about that, to make a video about that. I did make a video about this app that we're using for the TMS, self-made in-house app, but it's just not. I haven't been able to come to. So I'm gonna look at our loads here for this week. This is week 20. So I see a load Illinois to San Antonio for to Texas for 2,700, but this is a flatbed load, so that's not bad. New York Buffalo to Ashley, Indiana for 950. That's also not bad. It's a backhaul load, so that's okay. Jacksonville to Mooresville, Indiana for 2,100. We have some freight from Jacksonville, Florida that we do on a regular basis. So right now we're not afraid to send anyone to Florida because of that reason. Auburn, Indiana to Rochester, New York for 14. Yeah, it's not bad. So all in all, this week I see okay rates. I see okay rates. Iowa to Denver, Colorado, 2,800. That's a really good load. That's a really good load. Iowa to Detroit, Michigan for 13. Yeah, not bad as well. Uh, hmm. Yeah, I guess the rates are okay this week for us. You know, uh, Are you asking for more? Yeah, definitely. We're asking $5 per mile. There you go. Yep, I remember that. That was like 2 years ago that we wanted to do that. Are you asking for more dollars? Yes, we're asking for more money during the DOT blitz. I mean, we ask for more money in general, still all the time, unless this is a really bad area where the driver is in, or the driver has to go someplace and be there. And if there are no loads in the area at all, or if it's like a Friday afternoon, something like that. But usually we will still ask for more money. You can't ask for anything crazy, of course, nowadays, but you still ask. It's a habit, it's a way of doing business, and if they can do it, they can. If they can't, we'll see about that. Uh, Christmas is almost here. They're gonna pay more than, yeah, yeah, they should. I mean, this year or next year we'll see, but this year I'm cautiously optimistic, because we can see that the rates are not improving, but I see other factors, and I think it should improve soon. Picked a load from Laredo, Texas. Haggling. Well, it's not haggling, Mirko. It's negotiation. So hola to you as well. Picked a load from Laredo, Texas on Monday evening. It was supposed to be delivered on Wednesday in Michigan. My truck broke in San Antonio. Unfortunately, can I ask for partial money since we did take it 150 miles? Well, if from Laredo, Texas to Michigan, that's like 1,500 miles maybe or so. And you did 150 miles, so I don't know if they're gonna give you anything because they will have to recover the truck. If you drove like halfway, then maybe, but for 150 miles, I mean, it doesn't hurt because you picked it up. So, but how are you gonna make it if you pick up on Laredo, Texas on Monday evening? How are you gonna make it on Wednesday? Oh, it's in Indiana, not Michigan. Sorry, for some reason I saw Michigan. So Indiana, that's less than 1,500 miles, but still, it would be very tight. Depending on where you go in Indiana, it would be very tight. Let me see. So if you go from Laredo, let's see, go to Indianapolis, Laredo, Texas to Indy. How many miles is that? 1,300 miles. I mean, like, that's, maybe you can make it on Wednesday in the afternoon, but still, that's going to be very tight to drive like that, 1,300 miles. But, that's besides the point, I know, but you're asking about the money. Honestly, I really don't. I mean, you can ask, but I don't know if they're going to give you any money. Broker translocated the load on a different truck. Does TO truck order not use the place? If this is a really nice broker that understands what happened, and I know you are in a truck shop and you now you have to pay money out of your pocket for the repair, it's probably not that cheap, and you're losing time by sitting. You're gonna lose few days, so it's gonna be a big loss for you. But then the brokers, they don't really care about that. So even if they give you some money, it could be based on pay per mile. Well, you figure out how much this load was paying per mile. You divide the rate by the number of loaded miles, and you come up with a rate per mile that way, and then you multiply that with by 150, and see if you can ask for that money. I would still ask. I wouldn't be shy, but it might be like a 50% chance that you're going to get paid that money. Do you think the rates are going to go up now? TNT, I wanted to talk about it. It's my plan to talk about that in this live stream. So I want to talk about that. Yeah, the rates went up a little bit this way because so many carriers or trucks are resting, are not driving because of the inspection. Yeah, most likely a lot of them will not be driving. That's true. So the rates, there is a temporary tariff truce, and to me it's I'm I like reading the news about anything, and I consider myself informed, uh, whether it's domestic politics here, domestic policies, economy, wars, or international. So I like to stay informed, and a lot of people will blame a president on something that's currently going on, and depends if it's left or right, and they have their own beliefs. But it's just funny to me that something goes bad and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna blame the president and what they are doing. Now this current administration is still, in my opinion, very new to everything, and anything that happens right now, it's hard to blame them because in economy and in everything else, it takes a long time to see an effect of certain policies and the steps that they're doing. So it will always take a long time. Now with these tariffs, it was a little bit different because a lot changed overnight. But trucking has been bad for years now, for 2-3 years, and to blame all of that on these tariffs, I don't think that makes any sense. If it could make it a little bit worse right now, because the investors, like, they all got happy when Trump got elected. They got happy that he's gonna change something, and then we started seeing some changes, some positive changes. But then when the tariffs went into effect, then it started going backwards again. And then I see people are saying, well, oh man, I shouldn't have voted for this guy, and I got disappointed in what he is doing. Well, anything that anyone is doing, it will take a long time. And I've been, Emra and I, we were talking about this, and I've been talking to some of our drivers as well, and we are thinking, hey, well, there has to be something behind this. Like, it's not like, even with these big tariffs, like 30%, 145% tariff rates on the imports, there has to be some background in it. It can, like, it's not gonna stay here forever. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe they're building some leverage to build their case and to be able to negotiate better rates with everyone. And for sure, in the last few days, that's what we have been seeing. We have been seeing positive news from China and other European countries. Trump was in Saudi Arabia. I don't know if he's still there, but they made a $600 billion deal on a lot of things, and he's negotiating with other countries as well. So I'm not gonna say he's this genius that but there has to be something behind it. And let's just wait. Maybe this is not going to be same as a post-COVID effect, like we had 3 years ago or so. I don't even remember how many years ago. But then, if you remember, everything stopped for a couple of months at least. Everything just stopped. I remember we went home to work from home, and that was just a shock. That was something new to us. And everyone was worried, but then it just picked up and it went like crazy. Now, a lot of people got money. Most people got money, whether it's based on their family size or their business. A lot of people got loans that they didn't have to return. A lot of people got like these SBA loans, idle loans, and everyone's starting spending that money, and that for sure helped. But yeah, he got an airplane from Kuwait, yeah, B-21, not Kuwait, Qatar. Qatar, that's how they say it. But yeah, he got a plane from, and then they're holding that against him. But whatever, it's a free plane, like it's a gift. Just take it. Um, but I don't know. I don't think we're gonna see a post-COVID effects because this has been building up. Like some may call it a perfect storm. It has been building up for many, many months, for a couple of years at least. And now we had these tariffs, and now it's just like everyone is sitting and waiting what's going to happen. So if all the imports, if they are held, or if they go down significantly, because of this, for a month or two, or maybe few months, once it picks up, I sincerely believe that we're going to do much better. How better, I don't know, but I really do believe that hopefully in few months that it will be much, much better because of that. So we'll see. Okay. All right. He only paid that. Avais Ali Khan is talking about that load where his truck broke down. He only paid $100, and that was the assist driver provided for translocation. Yeah, like I said, I don't know if you can, because they have to transfer the load to a different trailer, and that costs money too. So they may hold that against you. Trucking is bad in Europe also. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting that's going on as well. It's not just trucking; it's all low entry jobs. All of them lost value last couple of years. Well, that's I don't know if on this channel we could talk about that, but if you go out right now and you go to any kind of service-based business, or any business that's done in person, you will see that everyone is hiring, everyone is short on staff. But if you ask them how much they pay, they're just gonna pay minimum wage. Like the other day, I saw a sign at a Home Depot. They're paying $15.25 to start. If you multiply that by 40 hours, that's $600 a week, and you take away taxes and insurance, other things, maybe you're gonna get left with like $400. I mean, $400 right now, even in Midwest, because I'm in Midwest, is really not much. If you have a family, if you are the only person working, even if you have two people working on that money, it's going to be hard to survive with all the bills and the rent and the house payments, car payments, if you have any, especially if you are in a big city. I mean, and I'm assuming in big cities, the wages will be better. But my point is, people just don't want to work for that money. They just don't, like, after COVID, everyone wants to work from home. Everyone wants to start their own business. They want to be famous on, social networks, make some money there. And in a way, I don't blame these people that they don't work. They don't want to work, but you can still, maybe find a good paying job out there. And then we have this new generation that, they have different work ethics and different expectations. So it's just hard to find any kind of work right now that's paying decent. And everywhere you go right now, it's just bad. So it has to do with inflation and a lot of things. I don't know what drugs, Mr. President, but he has to stop. He should pay attention to trucking market. I see that he and his administration are doing probably more right now for the trucking. I can see that that they're doing more for the trucking, but it has that domino effect. If you make some moves that will affect the economy, trucking is one of the first industries that's going to suffer. So yeah, you can't avoid that. My driver has 10 years old DOT. The thing is, the guy is asking for $3 RPM every time. He got a flatbed hotshot which brokers can pay. This gonna ship. So if you have a flatbed, regular flatbed, with a semi truck, 48 feet or 53 feet flatbed, that's different. You can make over $3 per mile. But with a hotshot, I'm assuming it's a pickup, and he has a trailer for that. Nah, you're not gonna make $3. And I mean, it's just not gonna happen. Svaki poklon je dobar. Yeah, every gift is, poklon se ne gleda u zube. Keep him south. Everybody is complaining about trucking everywhere in the world. Yeah, it has to do. Here in the United States, we have a lot of loud people that are complaining about everything here in the United States, and then that's the case in trucking. We got these conspiracy theories and stuff like that, and I'm sure a lot of this will affect the trucking industry. Like foreign drivers that come here, illegal immigration, and other factors. Drivers being underpaid. But like you said, if you look at it, it's everywhere in the world, and it has to do with the economy, the inflation, and it's just everywhere. The fuel prices are up, the cost of services are up. Like your mechanics, the maintenance, the parts are expensive. The parts are like triple as much as they used to be a few years ago, and they're bad. The quality is not there, and they keep breaking. Right now, if you buy a part for a truck, and if it lasts you for a year, you should be lucky, right? And insurance is high, and then because of all of this, drivers will demand more money. That they get paid more money, and you should pay them more money. But if you pay them more money, then the company is not going to have any profit. So it's tough in trucking everywhere you go. Hey, and this newbie question here: do you think if ever tariff war settle down, will laws be back to normal, or will be more than usual? Yeah, I just spoke about that. I don't know if you were here during the live. If you were not, you can rewind, go back, or watch it later. But yeah, I was just speaking about that. Send them here for 1 month. They will work 1 month in a truck for 1K, and the trucks are far better here. B21A, I'm assuming in Europe. I know some people that drive in Europe. I don't know the industry that much over there. I have an idea of how it works over there, since I'm talking firsthand to these guys. Some family members as well, and they go to different countries in Europe. They go to Western Europe. They go to Eastern Europe, to Turkey, and they're from Balkans area. And in Europe, it's different. They had these their own version of the ELDs. They have had it forever, and they got used to it. In Europe, also the speed limits are lower, and you cannot. There is no. I mean, you absolutely cannot drive over the speed limit because they will see it. When the cops pull you over, they see, that you drove over the speed limit, and therefore they cannot drive long distances. And usually in Europe, a driver is paid salary, so they're paid a month. It's a fixed rate. Maybe they will have some bonuses and something like that, but that's small and rare. Some drivers therefore decide to do things on their own, like they will bring something for someone somewhere, like something small, and do something on the side, where the owners don't know, so they will make some extra money. But the general way of paying the driver is paying a salary, and there are not that many owner operators like here. Here you have a lot of owner operators. In Europe, that's not the case, and in Europe you can't just buy one truck and go over the road. I mean, you could, but usually these are companies that have multiple trucks, that have money, and usually a lot of them will have their own stuff to transport. So you will have someone that's exporting or importing into the country, and then they will go one way with their own stuff, their own products or freight, and then the other way they will bring something else. But you do have companies and trucks that will full time be for hire, like here. But it's just it's a different game. Here in United States, it's normal to pay the driver per mile, and I think that's illegal in Europe because they don't want the driver to rush and do something stupid or not safe. But here it's normal because our speed limits are higher and we can drive more miles per week. In my opinion, the best way to pay the driver is per hour. Even in Europe, that salary is not a good way to pay a driver, because drivers are not your normal workers. You don't work 8 to 5, or I'm just looking at my messages here. So in Europe, they work like 7 to 3, 7 to 4, right? In the offices, in stores, it's they have like shifts. But anyway, drivers, that's different. Drivers work on a salary, and a lot of company owners will abuse that, because when you come back home, they will have a delivery someplace, not that close to your home. And for example, Bosnia is a small country. It's a very small country, but it will take you hours to drive like maybe 100 kilometers, which is like 60 miles, right? It will take you hours because of the roads, because of the speed limits, and all of that. And then you get home as a driver, and then they tell you, hey, you gotta go over there and deliver there, so pick this up or unload this, and it takes your whole day to do that. So over there, and I know one of my family members, I think he's paid by day, right? So they pay him by day. So that's I think that's more fair. But in my opinion, best way to pay anyone in that kind of industry is to pay by the hour. That's the best way. I was driving as a company driver like that for one company, and that was the best. And they had overtime, and you just log in your time in the morning, in the afternoon, and they pay overtime after 40 hours, and that's perfect. And then if you're at the delivery and they take their time, you don't care, right? Because you're paid by the hour. So that was really cool. Can you give me best route for my hotshot he's coming out of Georgia, which lane he should keep running so he can make it. No, I do apologize. I don't know much about, we do semi-trucks here. So I can talk about semi-trucks. I cannot talk about hot shots, sprinters, straight trucks. I really can't. If you want to make some decent RPM, send them to a bad market. It's like you have to choose between good market with less RPM and options or bad market with decent RPM but risk of getting stuck. It's not just risk of getting stuck. You don't. Sometimes you will have a driver that does not understand those bad market areas, and I can speak about that openly because I drove myself and I know how it is, right? No one can tell me, hey, you don't know anything about driving, you never drove, it's different. No, I know how it is. So if you have a driver that doesn't understand how that works, that's going to be tough, because you explain someone, hey, I'm going to send you in a bad area for really good money, and then we're going to get you out of there for really bad money. But then once you add those trips and add the money and divide that mileage by the money amount, you will still come up with a decent rate per mile. You gotta take the whole picture into the account. Even go further, like take the whole week. Do the whole week and then calculate your RPM, and then you will see that you're doing well. But no, if you send them over there for great money, they're still expecting to go out, with decent money. And that's unrealistic. You can't have. So I wouldn't send a driver over to a bad area like that if they don't understand how that works. If they want to sit over there and wait for a really good load, that's up to them. But you don't want to do that. Like, it makes you look bad, and they're losing time by sitting there. Let's just get you out of there. Let's just get you out of there to the closest decent area. Even if you have to drive out empty. Like, if you don't want to pick up a cheap, heavy load, let's say you drove 1,000 miles for like $3,000, right? Or maybe like $2,700. Okay, we'll move you out 300 miles. Let's say you have to go out empty. I mean, we don't want to do that, right? We want to give you something. But let's say you go out of there empty. So then that adds 300 miles to those 1,000 miles. That's 1,300 miles. You still drove you still drove 1,300 miles for like $2,700 or $3,000. Okay, so you got to think like that. It's a mindset. Yeah, in Europe, okay. Any thoughts on Europe trucks? Blitz Week, Ulrich, yeah, I did speak about that. I think that's what you meant, like European markets, or you mean the trucks, the actual trucks. Blitz Week, they might get out the rubber gloves. We don't get to home. Yeah, most drivers in Europe will stay out for like a couple of weeks at least, right? Because it takes long time to get somewhere, and not just because of the roads and the speed limits. They have a lot of borders, and you gotta have paperwork. Because I talked to my cousin a while ago, and they were trying to get a scrap load. I think it was like aluminum scrap or steel scrap, something like that. And they're trying to get to, I think, Turkey from Bosnia. And your first border is Serbia. And they went to the Serbia border, and they're asking for some kind of paperwork. And they don't have that paperwork. So they make the truck sit there at the border. They go back like 20, 30 kilometers and find a place. And they made him wait for days. So he actually left the truck there and got onto a different truck with his buddy and got home. And he waited like 5-6 days just to get that paper, just to cross, Serbia. He's not even delivering there. He just has to go through Serbia. And they made him do that. And to me, that was like, if you're transporting something in a trucking company, you should know, what kind of paper you have to have. But still, he had to make he was just a driver. And, you're going to suffer. You're going to wait for days, sometimes at borders. And then, like, you deliver at your final destination. And, like sometimes, they send me pictures, like they're waiting for a load and they're out there, barbecuing. Like they don't have anything to do. Like they go to a beach and they just spend their time just, talking to other drivers. And then over there, it's very relaxed. Here in the United States, like if you don't get a load here, man, like you're itching, you're angry, like you just want to go, you can't wait. Like, but over there, it's a different mentality. Like it's part of their life. They just sit out there and make it, like they talk to their buddies, they barbecue, they go to lunch, they're like taking it easy. I just don't understand. And we are here like all stressed out, just waiting for that load. It's different. American truckers have more freedom, so I always say, let them come here. Yeah, we have freedom here, and we always want even more freedom, because we are used to it, like we are spoiled. Hi, Ennis. Last 2 days, everything looks much better as far as the rates goes and the amount of loads. Do you think do you think this is because of the DOT week, or because of the Trump tariffs that with China, and they were suspended for 90 days? So it's probably because of the DOT week. I don't think, like, even if the tariffs have been suspended, that would take an immediate effect onto the economy and the trucking markets. I just don't think that would happen. Maybe it will help in the long run, but it's most likely due to the DOT week. And then also, like, I just wish, earlier I was talking about these tariffs and how this might be their way of negotiating and keeping the pressure on them. And I kind of understand that. Like, even though I'm in trucking industry, even though I will, my company and we will suffer here, I kind of understand they want to do something. Okay, so let's see what happens. Let's give them a chance, I guess. But what I don't like is, like, they're giving, it's like hot and cold. They're just giving these time frames. Like, okay, we're suspending this for 90 days. Like, dude, just do it for good. Investors don't like that, because how are they going to invest? How are they going to buy stuff? How are they going to plan for 90 days? Like, in economy, in business, you don't plan just for 90 days. You can't accomplish much in 90 days. You need more time. So if they tell you it's going to be, in 3 months, we might be going back to same, like, it's not much is going to change. I wish they would just come out and say, hey, this is the permanent deal that we have, and this is what it's going to be. And then everyone can plan based on that information. Based on this information, you can't plan anything. Just looking at my messages. What about flatbed routes out of Georgia? I have 148 feet. Flatbeds are doing well anywhere right now in southeast. Midwest is becoming better as well, right? But flatbeds are doing okay. I'm not gonna say it's crazy, but it's construction season, and we just had one driver switch to flatbed, and he likes it. But with a flatbed, you have to have all the equipment, and it's a different game, and you have to know how to run it. I would still, for now, stay out of Georgia and Carolinas just for now to see what's going to happen. But for sure, like the rest of the South, and if you go up Midwest, maybe a little bit, like Missouri, Illinois, Kansas, over to those areas, I think you should do okay. Also, we have a flatbed that likes to go. He lives in Texas. He likes to go to Southwest and West. So he's doing pretty well in those areas. He's going to New Mexico, Nevada, California, Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma, those states. So he's doing well over there. I love the Florida drivers. Whenever they're doing a backhaul load, they're paid with proper RPM, and it's easy to find Florida load because most people avoid it anyway. And best part is going home with good money. Yeah, we have a few drivers from Florida here, and I guess it's working out pretty well because, like you said, when they go home, they get a decent rate, and they understand that from Florida they're not gonna get a good rate. So it's different if you have a driver that doesn't live in Florida. They might not understand it. Well, they will. Like everyone knows that Florida is bad to go out from, but still, if you have a driver that's from somewhere else and you send it to Florida, they're still gonna be like, oh man, there are no loads, and I'm never gonna go back there. This is ridiculous. So it will be tough when you're sending them to Florida and getting them out. But with someone that lives in Florida, they understand it's much easier. So they go out, like they don't complain. They just go out for okay money, or sometimes we used to go empty. Sometimes if there's nothing. But right now there is no reason to go out empty from Florida. But they understand this, so it's much easier to do those loads. When are you live dispatching and haggling live? I should. I was when I started this live stream today. I was talking about it. I've been meaning to go live with Chris, but I could do it by myself too. Hopefully, I can do it soon. I've been very busy. Even today, I was like, man, I really don't have much time to go live. But I know I've been doing this for a few weeks in a row, and I just don't want to disappoint you. So I want to stay consistent. So I did go live, but I was very busy and I almost didn't do it. So for live dispatching, we should start earlier, not at 11, because 11 is already too late. We should start at like 8 or 9 a.m. Eastern time to do, and then we'll change the title of the video, live haggling. Balkan heads are built of stone. Hey Amir, the market is good now because most drivers at home due to the DOT week. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna say most drivers, but a lot of them will stay. We only had one driver here that that's staying home because of that. I really don't encourage that to anyone. We want to be out there and make some money while we can. And my thinking is like, if the DOT is gonna pull you over, they can pull you over anytime. We just got truck. They did an inspection on his truck, I think like 2 weeks ago. So it can happen anytime, anywhere. You never know. And when I was driving, I never missed this. I never stayed home during the DOT blitz week. I would always go out. Okay, so yeah, keep the comments coming. It gives us something to talk about, but let's see what else I have for you. So speaking about the tariffs, the current blanket 30% tariff on China is still in effect. sector-specific tariffs on cars, steel, and EVs are still alive and well. Even with the temporary truce, the current tariff rate is projected to reduce US-bound Chinese exports by as much as 36% over the next year. Don't be surprised. This is a message to shippers. Shippers, start your engines. Don't be surprised if your warehouse is more chaotic than an anthill that just got stepped on for the next few months. With the 90 days on the clock, importers are already front-loading orders in an effort to beat the potential tariff snapback. Expect volume spikes, rate increases, and some very overworked logistics managers. So these so-called trucking experts are saying that maybe the shippers will get itchy to start getting or shipping some freight because of this 90-day tariff stop. Here is what we know about the immediate future. The White House says 105% tariffs aren't coming back. So they're not coming back. That's good. Trump claims China has agreed to fully open its economy. That's good. Negotiators, hagglers, are prepping for more talks. Okay. One broker doesn't want to pay because we sent the invoice late after 60 days. It is not fair. I agree that it's not fair, but a lot of brokers will have that provision. They will have that, well, not provision, like rule. A lot of them will do that, and I don't understand why you didn't send that invoice on time. Maybe you forgot about it, and it does happen. I do understand, but yeah, they might have that rule. So it is not fair. I do agree. Let's talk about personal conveyance. What time is it? Okay, so let's talk about personal conveyance. We're gonna stream for like an hour today, so it's been 50 minutes right now. No, sorry, 43 minutes. And so let's talk about personal conveyance. Now, if you are a dispatcher and you see personal conveyance, that might not mean a lot to you. But if you're doing safety for a trucking company like I do here, among other things, you will know that the personal conveyance option on the logbooks is very tricky, and companies can either approve that company-wide or they can have different rules. And FMCSA, they do advise that each company creates their own personal conveyance rule. And this is one of the things that hasn't been clear, and everyone is saying the same thing. Everyone is saying the same thing, that FMCSA should be more specific on what's allowed and what's not allowed. They do have some frequently asked questions and answers on their website, and I hand that out to all our drivers, and I tell them that personal conveyance is something that here in Usora Express we treat as a luxury. It's a convenience. I would I would also, PC, it stands for personal conveyance, but I could also call it personal convenience, because it just allows you to drive the truck off clock, like when you're not supposed to drive it. But there are certain rules. There are certain rules that you have to follow when doing that. You cannot be under dispatch unless there are some exemptions to that, but generally you cannot be under dispatch. Even if FMCSA says, even if you're unloaded, you were on a load, you're going home to your hometown, you deliver the load, you cannot use personal conveyance to go back to the yard, because it's still considered to be a part of the dispatch, because you delivered the load, you went on a business to deliver that load, and now you have to go with the truck, go back to the yard or wherever, or home. And they specifically say that you cannot use personal conveyance for that. And if I see our drivers do that, I will talk to them and I will tell them that it is not allowed. You can't. I wish we could, but they don't allow it. And it's not supposed to be used for like an hour or 2 hours of driving. It's supposed to be used only in certain circumstances where you absolutely have to move the truck. If you're off clock, you have to move the truck because of safety reasons, or something similar to that, or like they don't let you stay at the delivery or the shipper, or somewhere on the road, or maybe you're stuck in traffic, and your hours ran out, but you're supposed to go to the closest safe haven, safe stop, and stop there and do your 10-hour or 34-hour reset, whatever you have to do. You're not supposed to drive like that for 4 hours or 2 hours. And usually you can get someplace safe within like 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes. But you have to be able to prove that to the DOT, because they will go, like if they, or lawyers, if something bad happens on the road and someone is after you, and it does happen, if someone is after you, they can check easily where you were, where you started the personal conveyance, how far were you actually from a safe spot, and then you're going to be held responsible for whatever happened while you were driving, because you were not supposed to be there at that time. Okay, so personal conveyance is very tricky, and I'm looking at my messages here. Okay, so that's tell us please how it was your first day like a dispatcher. Thanks. My first day as a dispatcher. So this, oh man, I think it was 2013 maybe or so, because I was driving for this company back then, and then I went to the office and I stayed there for like a few months as a dispatcher. And I never dispatched before. I was driving, I was a driver, but I kind of knew, the game. It wasn't that hard for me because I drove for many years before that, and I learned about the trucking and dispatching, and I spoke to brokers, spoke to dispatchers. And back then we had a DAT load where it was a software. It was called, I don't know if it was called Power DAT back then. But it was a software that you have to install on the computer and log into the software and then use it that way. It wasn't browser based. But anyway, it wasn't hard for me because I knew a lot. I knew like 70% of the stuff. The only thing that I had to learn was how to, book a load, how to negotiate, how to fill out, because back then the paperwork was all on, it was faxed. They would fax you the packet, they would fax you the rate confirmation, and you would have to wait for that. It's not instant like email. Like you gotta wait for your fax for like 30 minutes, and then you scan, you print it, you sign it, and then you scan it back, send it back. So it would take a long time to book a load. So those are the only things that for me were new, but it didn't take me long to do that because we had like 5 dispatchers in the same room, and I'm just there watching them and asking the person next to me if I don't know anything, or they're gonna shout over if I do something wrong. They would just say, hey, do it this way, and then pretty soon, because all these guys were younger than me, pretty soon, like I was kind of on the same level with them. The only difference with them was that they have been doing that for years, and back then, since this was a company that had like 50, 60 trucks, the brokers would just send you loads. Like I remember we had these loads with like XPO and Echo, and they would just send you like 20 loads. They just fax you 20 loads, and all you have to do is like look at where everyone is, and then you have to plan how to get that truck to pick up that load on that date. So they had those deals where they don't even ask you if you have a driver, and because the rates were already set. They talked about the rates, and the rates were negotiated, and all just you knew what these loads were paying, and they would just send you like 20 loads or more at the same batch in the fax, and you just get those loads. And your biggest worry right now is how to get those drivers to pick up those loads and assign them, and then we had we had 2 big boards on a wall, and all the drivers and their locations, and then you just stand in front of that wall, and then you look at the load board, and it's like a game. You're playing a game. Like you're gonna send this driver over there, and this guy's gonna pick this one up, and then this load gets canceled. They're gonna move that driver. It was very interesting, and it was way different than what we have now, because email was not a big thing, back then. It wasn't a big thing. You would just call brokers and talk to them, and you had like you hear all these people in the background talking all the time, and it's very hectic. Everyone is stressed out, and they're yelling, they're getting angry, they're slamming, they're throwing their cell phones against the walls, literally. And they go out and they smoke. They come back. They talk to drivers. Drivers are giving them hard time. And you have 3 phones. You're talking on the 3 phones at the same time. I used to book loads. I used to book 2 loads at the same time. One phone here and the office phone here. Or the cell phone, and you put this guy on hold, mute, go back, negotiate, call the driver, ask your dispatcher to call the driver, ask the driver. You're yelling. It's hectic, man. What I do right now is much, much more relaxed. And with email, it's relaxed. Like you're just looking at your emails, sending a broker's emails, answering. It's way different. Look at my messages again. Okay, well, that was a great question, Bulat99. Thanks for reminding me of that. But anyway, it's been almost an hour right now, and I didn't break my promise. I was here on Wednesday at 11. That's good. But I will have to go. And for next time, please do get some questions and topics that you want to talk about. This was short but fun. Yes, I've seen directly how this process worked. It was enough easy, like a game. How you said one of the next will have to speak. Yeah, so it's different. It's different. And then if you go before that, like when I first started driving, we just started using cell phones, and most of these cell phones were prepaid. And you will go out, and if you go to California or Arizona, that was in like 2005 and 2006, maybe seven. You just go out there and you drive for hours without any signal, and your you can only text message with text, like there is no pictures, like the dispatcher will not be able to send you a picture of the rate confirmation or instructions. They would have to You would have to type it in manually, like you look at the rate confirmation and you have to. It was very time consuming to type in all that information in a text message, and then you gotta make sure you don't make a mistake, because if you make a, a mistake um, with a building number or street name, then the driver is screwed, right? And the driver cannot go online because we didn't have internet on the phone. The driver cannot go online and look for shipper's phone number or Google satellite or Google Maps, nothing like that. So you have to rely, like the dispatcher will send you the phone number from the shipper receiver, then you would call them, and then you would ask them for directions. Then you would write down those directions, or the dispatcher would give you the directions. But then you have some young kid that like doesn't know how to give directions, and you're screwed. But back then I had a laptop in my truck. I also had internet. There was this device that you connect and to internet, so I was able to connect to that way. Or you can, like truck stops would usually give you a Wi-Fi, and a lot of times you will have to pay to use that Wi-Fi when you go to a truck stop. And I used the Microsoft Streets and Trips, and they had constant updates every year. And it's a software on a CD, and you get a GPS antenna. It's like a little receiver on your USB. And do you have USB, or was it something else? Then I don't remember. So I had a stand next to me when I was driving, and my laptop would be open with Microsoft Streets and Trips, and I would be able to see myself where I am, and zoom in and expand, because I didn't like those GPS navigation systems. I never liked them. So that's what I was using then. Questions are based on how the week goes. Yeah, sure, I understand. Any advice for a new dispatcher in the current market? Well, just I guess if you're new, if you already started to do this, and if you're working for someone or for yourself, I guess keep doing it. Like if you give up, then it's gonna be for nothing. It's like, because these times will make you quit. Even a seasoned and experienced dispatcher or a driver, bad trucking markets will make you quit, and you're going to be like, man, this is not worth it. This is too much stress. It's not going anywhere. And then let alone a brand new dispatcher will be like, hey, well, what's this? Like, this is not normal. But on the bright side, this is how we get trained. If you have a dispatcher that has never been in a bad market, like they just started like 2 years ago, and this whole time has been really great, and it's easy to book loads, you're getting good rates, you don't have that many problems, brokers are answering, they're not lying to you, the loads are not being canceled, and then you get into something like this, and then you're shocked. Like, if you start in the times like these, it's going to be much easier for you to work. But once the markets improve, and you'll be ready for next time, because there will be a next time for sure. You will be ready for bad trucking markets. You will have some experience, and you will know the good and the bad. So my advice would be just stick stick in it if you're serious about this. Be honest. It goes a long way. Don't lie to your drivers. Don't lie to brokers. Tell them the truth, whatever the truth is, and be available. Right? Be available. Don't check out and driver is trying to call you or your boss or someone and you're not there. That's bad. That's bad. No one is gonna, especially in these times, because when the markets are good, you can book your trucks for a couple of days ahead for a whole week. And then you can do whatever you want. Like you can go out, you can watch a video on YouTube or go to Facebook because the trucks are covered. You're just there to maintain everything. But these days you have to be present, you have to be constantly looking, and the driver and whoever you're working for, they have to know that you're looking and that you're available and that you're doing your best. Because if you can't find a load and driver calls you and you're not available, they're gonna say, well, this guy is lazy, he's not available, I don't want to work with him anymore. But if the driver sees that you're trying, that you're doing everything you can, and there are still no loads, it's not your fault, right? They can't blame you. They're not going to blame you. They're going to say, hey, man, this guy is really great. I love him. It's just that there were no loads and, we couldn't find anything. New or old in this market, you cannot stretch it too much. Yeah. I'm not sure if I understand that, but I'm sure these are some wise words, wise Al-Khan. These are some wise words. For me, too complicated to understand. Thanks everyone for watching. Now it's been an hour. Come back for more. Watch the channel. Hopefully, this 90-day stop on the tariffs will somewhat improve our rates, and hopefully we can make some money and stop worrying about the markets. This is Ennis from Never Stop Trucking. Thanks everyone for watching, for being here every time, and stay safe. And will